What's wrong with having a GM character in the party? Is there a right way to do it? Or is it always a slippery slope? Is it too gimmicky to just use them as glorified tutorials showing the players how to do something and then spiriting them away for reasons? Is it a slippery slope that just never works out? Should GMs just stick to working against the players as the chief antagonist like God intended?
Like, my God, Gygax. Marco's like, do you know me? Honestly, I do buy it. Like, I honestly do think DM characters aren't always bad. I do think there is a way to do them right, but it's so fucking difficult.
It's like a needle in a haystack, my guy. It just doesn't...
And you know the worst thing is, I might be thinking to myself, oh yeah, I'm doing this the perfect way, and everyone's happy, and everyone's like, oh fuck's sake, you stop fucking pinning your self-insert 5 fucking minutes.
That's what I think. I think DMs seem to, or GMs seem to forget that it's a player character, it's not yourself. Don't self-insert, because it just that's when things start to slide. Yeah,
it does. It slides very easy. And also, like why would you even want a DM player character to begin with? Because you've got control over literally fucking everything
anyway. Yeah,
everything that the players can't interact with, you control. There's literally nothing that you don't control, except the direct actions of the players, and even then, that's fucking DICE's job to work that shit out. So, I don't know, I just feel like it's kind of pointless a lot of the time. I feel like they've got like a nice idea, and maybe it's like, oh no, we could do this would help the party out a lot. But normally, whenever you're helping them out, like again, slippery slope, are you helping them out? Are you giving them are you throwing them a bone?
Or are you playing yourself?
Or are you doing it for them? You know what I mean? And there's the big difference there, you know? And maybe it's coming from a place of, oh, you know what?
Forever DM.
Yeah, well, it could be that too, honestly.
Could be.
A lot of DMs are like, you know what, I would really like to just
never
play
get a chance
once,
to play, yeah.
You know, and, you know, if you
and rightly so.
yeah, fuck DMs, am I right? You know what, we're gonna start the meme of jammies. You know what I mean? DMs are now officially jammies. Oh, it's horrible. I love my DMs. Kiss my homies goodnight. Look, let's get into this thread.
I honestly think that the GMPC hate is grossly exaggerated by a lot of people, but I concede that it takes a lot of maturity and understanding of the game, system and setting to not be
a gamer
about it. Even when done okay, they should be temporary and serve a purpose rather than just be part of the party. Yes. Be it someone the party has to escort, protect, aid, etc. Having a competent character that can defend themselves during an adventure is fine, but they should be a vessel to try and progress a narrative or something. Not, I'm here just because the DM out of game wants one. I've used a handful, and also I've been in a couple of games where there have been ones that the table has enjoyed, and even grown attached to. It's just something like that 95% of people fuck up.
Yeah. That's pretty much. Did we not just say that? Did we not literally just say that?
It's like a needle in a haystack finding a GMPC.
Again, I feel like you know the best way to do it. The players don't recognise it as the player character. It's an NPC. Realistically, it's an NPC with a bit more spotlight.
With a bit more spunk.
With a bit more sass. You know?
Jazz hands.
But yeah, no, I definitely get that. I feel like there's only been one time where I've noticed a DM player character, and even then, I noticed it, but it was never... It wasn't a DM player. It was like the way you described. So again, Nick in the Line of the Philosophy game, there was this necromancer sort of woman, and it was one of those people that we kind of just picked up along the way, and we kind of found her, and she had a lot of, you know, she knew an awful lot more about the locals than what we did.
Yep.
And it would be someone that, you know, she would for the most part just stay in town, but we would go and see her, and maybe we would take her with us to go somewhere, go and check something out or investigate, just because we needed a specialist of sorts, because we weren't specialised in what it was that we needed. And she showed up maybe a fair bit more towards the end. She became more and more important, but at no point did she steer the narrative. She was something that, again, this sounds very sexist, but she was an object to be
used.
Yes, well, you know,
Not in that sense of the
no,
word.
but
Used.
she was to be. She couldn't react, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
She couldn't.
Well, I wouldn't say that's a DMPC. I would say it's more of an NPC.
Yeah, again, it was an NPC.
Just, yeah.
It was an NPC with a bit more spotlight that
Yeah.
had a lot more. It had a lot more to do with the story.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without that character, we wouldn't have got half as far.
The
as
narrative wouldn't have went along.
Yeah, exactly.
I get it.
It was more. It was more a helpful tool for Nick to be able to keep the story going, keep us all on the same page, and actually. Oh, would I know this bit of backstory? Let me go for it and see. It's like, would that be something that I would have known about before? It's like, yeah, we can say we know that before, but there's only so much you can do, and if you don't get the goals, you don't get the goals, and no one cares, you know.
If your GM is reserved with them, they're fine. I played in a 2-year campaign that had a GMPC with the party the whole way, and we had a great time. The trick is that one has to be careful so that they don't take over the limelight and make your players feel redundant. This usually means they centre more around supporting other PCs somehow. They can also be a handy way to funnel exposition to your players organically. Caveats are, they should almost always be reserved for smaller parties. If you have 4 to 5 players, they should be able to cover their bases well enough. Even groups of 3 should be fine, but they may have a glaring weakness you'd like to shore up and made characters that are difficult to nearly tie into the scenario you had in mind. A DMPC can work here. Running for 2 players can be rough if they don't bounce off each other very well or have massive gaps in their combat ability. This was the case for our party, and having the DMPC around gave us, the players, some extra breathing room for our character builds, and as well as giving the GM a bit more leeway in how he ran us through the story. It helped that he is generally a pretty good role player, so the characters never felt like just an exposition vehicle or a mechanical add-on. There's not much point in a mostly combat-focused type game. If your party desperately needs some help, then you can have a generic NPC tag along with them. But it's my opinion that if you're balancing right, then it shouldn't be necessary. Unless, again, the system buckles under having too few players. But there isn't many of those that come to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, you know, he's bringing up good points. I do definitely think having a DM player character for combat, again, that's just taking
taking
the spotlight away from the players. What are they being used for? Like, literally, that is what it is.
I do think, you know, especially, you know what people could be like, not too many people who would really go spell casting.
That's you speaking, Megan. That is you.
Well, I'm just saying, if you have a group and there's no spellcasters and the DM wants to put in an NPC or a DMPC that's a spellcaster, then go ahead.
But again, like, you know, it's up to the DM maybe to create encounters where they aren't, like, you know, they're balanced more in favor towards martial classes. Maybe the DM isn't tailoring the game correctly to the player's ability. Maybe. Yeah. Again, like, you know, I think you can use the same argument that maybe there's a small group. Maybe you're going to be playing with, you got your DM, and then you got one player that's really into min-max and everything, and one player that's really not.
Yeah.
Well, the player that's really into min-max is obviously going to outshadow and be twice, if not 3 times more useful than the guy that isn't.
Yeah.
As good, you know what I mean? And I think it's balancing act, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what the core argument is. It's all, but
it's trying to find what that good balance is.
You know what, this is going to be a thought. Is our DM player characters a force of the force? You know, where, like, you know, they can't be good without evil. They can't be. It's a balancing act. It's like
I don't know if it's so much that, and it's more just the DM's ego half the time.
Yeah, I think it's DM ego. Like, every single story that we've covered on this channel that have got DM player characters, it's always been an ego thing, and the DMs aren't happy with literally every fucking thing else that they've got at their disposal.
Because, and it's mostly the case, especially if you hear, oh, I have a homebrewer run around.
Yeah.
And they sit the players down, but the players aren't playing ball.
Yeah.
And then the DM's like, okay, well, here's my DMPC, and we're going to go along my narrative because it's my homebrew and I want it to work out this way.
At that point, just write a book, though.
Yeah.
Honestly, just write a book, create your own story. You know, that's the way I would view it.
But Yeah, well, that takes effort.
Well, you know, people put a lot of effort into being a DM as well. And also, I kind of feel for DMs as well, because they do put an awful lot of work and a lot of energy towards the games. And then they've got, like this is the way I would like this game to be. And then the players show up and just fucking ruin everything.
Yeah.
Players, no limits.
Psst. Hey, lean in closer. This is fucking ASMR channel now. You know it's pretty fucking based. Titties. Go see titties. Lots of titties.
All the titties.
Go over to the website, check out all the models. You guys know the score. We have some really nice looking models over there. And we have a lot of...
Sci-fi gothic?
Yeah.
Let's call them sci-fi gothic.
And if models isn't your shit, we have loads of subclasses and we keep adding them every other week or so. We add a lot.
We got a lot.
Look, we've got big brains. We add shit. But yes, go over to the website, check out everything. If you haven't subscribed, what the fuck you doing? Hit subscribe, hit the notification bell as well, and let's get back to the video. Every week we're going to be doing a giveaway of the new pinup model of the month, or if models isn't your thing, all of our homebrew content. If you want to be in with a chance to win the giveaway, all you need to do is subscribe. That's it. Hit the subscribe button. That's it.
Do it now.
But last week's winner was this guy. Well done! Yay! Round of applause.
Yeah.
Everybody stands up and claps. But enough of that. Let's get back to the video. GMPCs are bad. Just don't. As the GM, you already play a bunch of characters. You play all the NPCs, but that is just mentally totally different from playing GMPCs. It takes focus away from NPCs. It takes focus away from the players. It takes focus away from the game. Also, since you are a storyteller and player in that moment, it's very easy to fall into the trap of having your character take priority in every scene over the players. I've had experience with being on the receiving end of this, as well as GMing and playing my own character. Mostly because I felt there weren't enough players, so I also played one. It was never good. The GM I started playing with had this thing where he was the forever GM, and clearly not happy with it. So now and then he would come up with a player character he wanted to play. He would then craft an adventure where he could show off that character to us, by sidelining us for the session and letting his character do all the work.
That sounds like every character, the Empire character I've ever heard of.
He wasn't even aware that he did this. He was convinced that we all loved this shit, when in reality...
Yes, that's always the case. Oh my god, my character's so cool, and it's also inspired by anime, guys. Anime, am I right, guys? Oh, and he's got this really cool katana. Yeah!
That we all loved this shit, when in reality, we were extremely frustrated with the situation. He was my first GM, so this was basically normal to me. When it then came to my time to GM, I would also every now and then insert my previous characters into the game as a GMPC, but I quickly noticed that I had two options when playing them. Either have them as the centre of attention at all times, or have them shut up and not do much until the players needed them. The former had me focus more on my own character than the session. The latter had me focus more on the session. Obviously, I went with the latter. And at that point, why have a GMPC at all? You are the GM. Your duties lay elsewhere. RPGs are a group effort. So fucking do your job or nobody has fun. You fuck.
Well, I was very angry at the end. Okay, I've got another example that I can think of. And again, it's the same DM, Nick's what I was like, so...
Nick's on here going, oh shit, what's he going to say?
No, this is good. No,
Nick's good.
Yeah, I like Nick.
Yeah.
I'm very fond of Nick. Suck your dick. Please, he's going to pick me when it's in 3 days from now. It's like, James, I don't want you to suck my dick. Anyway, like, on to what I'm trying to talk about. Sorry about that. So...
It is Valentine's Day after all.
Yeah. Oh, God. Anyway, so we're playing a server... And there's about maybe 15 people and 5 guys DM. So there's about 5 DMs, and everyone kind of like rotates from time to time, or like different people have different games on different days, all that sort of stuff. Anyway, we're all playing in the same universe for the most part. There's some games that aren't set within it, but like that's neither here nor there. Anyway, so Nick has his character that he plays in other people's games. And then there was one game that he was running where, again, I hate, the worst thing is you guys are going to be like, shut the fuck up, James. It was very Asian inspired. So it was very like Kung Fu movie-esque, but it was a really fun wee one-shot that we were playing. And so the basic gist was we show up at this bar, we're sitting having food, whatever, relaxing, and this like Yakuza gang show up and they want to they're trying to bully the tavern owner for money or whatever. And there is, whenever we first go into the bar, there is only us, the people working there, and his character was sitting there just up at the fire having a wee rest. So look, as I'm saying, the Yakuza gang, they show up, they're trying to be like, yo, give us some money. And then we're like, here, we're the bad guys in this time. You don't get to bully the shopkeepers. That's we're not that bad. Well, like, if anyone's gonna lack it, it's gonna be us, alright? That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so Blake's out into a fight and whatnot, and the thing is, his character never did anything. He's a wizard. He teleported out of the room. He just kind of made a distraction of sorts. He saw things were going wild, and then it was kind of his character that brought the fight to a start. Like, big crack, big like loud noise, vanishing. Everyone pulls table, like all the tables get chucked in the bar, and everyone's like fighting starts breaking out. So what his character did, it was like a trigger for the conflict, even though the conflict was going to happen no matter anyway, what, and we were literally just about to roll initiative, and it was just kind of... So really, what he did was he kind of used his character more as a prop than anything. Yeah. It didn't have any real interactions. The character was just there. He was sleeping. Yeah. He kind of got woken up by the kerfuffle, and that was kind of it. But yeah, it was a DM player character because it literally was his character, but was it? He could have used anything else. But would it have worked? Maybe, I don't know. I thought it was interesting anyway, seeing someone use their character from the same game, but not actually using them at the same time. They were just kind of there. And also our character didn't actually know his character at this point because I hadn't played any games with him as a player, like, with us both being players at that point. So, I thought it was an interesting way of doing it.
Look, guys, we are parents. Our son just woke up from a nap, so I'm going to have to record this last one.
So if you hear some weird...
If you hear slapping, because he's in the slapping stage of doing it, he goes... Yeah. That's him. So, I've been behind the GM screen for a GMPC that worked very poorly, and one that worked very well. The first one worked poorly because the campaign started just as a one-on-one thing between me and my best friend in high school to figure out what this D&D thing was all about. The idea was that we'd take turns DMing, switching out after each adventure. Here's how it went wrong. Friendo's first time behind the DM screen ends. Time for me to come up with the next adventure. Ask for ideas. She says, I want to know what's going on with GMPC. Have the next one involve their backstory. Before next adventure can end, other friends join the game. Other friends have to watch as some character they don't know or care about goes through main character moments. Don't worry, I wrapped up that adventure as fast as I could without rushing, and came up with a reason for the character to retire. Still, there were a fair few sessions where I felt like a real douche in any time that my character did anything in the same area code as the Spotlight. The second one worked well because they were never intended to be full party members. We were learning a new system, and I figured this was an acceptable circumstance to bring in Le Tutorial NPC, so they had an in-character safety net for terrible ideas. This character, like all good tutorial NPCs, was always meant to exit the story after the players proved that they didn't need the training wheels anymore. But anytime the character brought up retiring or even just sitting this one out, the other characters insisted they come along anyways. It eventually reached a point where I told the players, out of character, that they could be getting more out of loot if it was split 3 ways instead of 4. And they told me they'd rather keep the tutorial NPC turned GMPC around than get the extra 25% of the loot. Still can't fully tell if they actually find the character's personality that interesting, or if they just like having a Catboy mascot.
Well, there you go. There you go. Like, that's exactly what you did. Why did you have to? Why does the Empire character
don't
have to be a
listen about Catboys.
Don't.
Cover your ears.
We should probably get him a pair of headphones to cover him up with. Yeah. You tell them the damn character is a horrible idea.
The point of all that was to prove my credentials on this subject. I hope I can somewhat authoritatively say that the trick to GMPCs is that they should be built to leave the story eventually. If your players fall in love with them, then great, but that should never be your goal. Making a character to give them a feel for how the common folk of the setting feel about plot developments is fine, but once the PCs have come to their own, then it's time for the GMPC to exit the story. Think of them as training wheels. The players are eventually supposed to grow past them. If you're lucky like I was, then your players will like the character enough to keep them around, but never ever go into things expecting that. Plan for the character to leave as soon as they're no longer needed. Also, the image I used wasn't just to get you to read my post. Having the big bad evil guy kill the training wheels NPC is a great way to establish stakes. It'll also either get the players emotionally invested in taking the big bad evil guy down if they like the character, or work as a bit of catharsis to see them die if the players didn't like the character.
Honestly, in the picture, I don't know if you guys can see it or not very well, it is how to go on a DMPC character, and it's a tick with Ben Kenobi from A New Hope, and then Jar Jar Binks. With
No.
No. Honestly, yeah, I see exactly what they're trying to say, especially... Yeah, Ozzy, do you agree too?
Dada.
Yeah, he's getting there,
Yeah,
so
Dada.
he is. He's getting there. We'll need to do another live stream to tell you guys about how he's getting along and whatnot, but like, that's for another video. Anyway, back on to what we're actually talking about here. DMPC characters, there's too many times they've done poorly, but let's think about, again, I think Obi-Wan Kenobi, what they've said, is actually a perfect example of a great DMPC character. And you know who else is another one, which I know you guys are going to be, oh James, I can't believe you're actually saying this. Oh, why do you always have to bring fucking this up? Why you like this?
What are you going to bring up?
Gandalf. Gandalf's a DMPC character.
Well, yeah.
And honestly, you know what this is, right? You know what exactly to reference back into this? So when Gandalf does die, you know, he dies fighting the big bad evil fucking Balrog of sorts. But then maybe it's like the players like, oh man, we really need Gandalf back. We really miss him.
Like,
and like the parties,
back.
and you know the thing is, the parties all split up. And you know, I'm DMing on different nights because fucking Sam and Frodo can only make it on a Monday, and Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli can only make it on a Wednesday night, and fuck knows what fucking Merry and Pippin are doing.
They show up stoned all the time.
Yeah, they're fucking useless. So you know, if we could, like, you know, we all know that all the big fighting's going to be done with Aragorn, Legolas, and Gimli. Obviously, they're going to need Gandalf on their side. So like, you know, and also then, later down the line, fucking Pippin, for God's sake, can't fucking do anything, like. Yeah. So again, he's stuck. It's a one-on-one game right there. It's a good analogy. It kind of works. So, and ironically, Gandalf is a really good example of a DM character. But yeah, it's again, how will we end this? I suppose the only way to put it is I wouldn't bother. I honestly just
I really don't see the point in GMPCs. I really don't.
I feel like if the players are lacking in something, if they feel like they're coming up against an obstacle that they can't get past, I think honestly DM just fine tune it a bit better. Maybe fine tune what they're going after. You know, a good example would be like, you know, maybe they just need a henchman. Maybe they're we're in this village and we need to get through the dark evil forest, but it's really thick and really evil and we don't know the path. Yeah, do you not want to hear about the evil forest?
Dark evil forest?
Oh no,
okay.
not the evil. Okay, I won't talk about the evil forest. But then but then they find a forester, so they and the party hired him for a whole 10 gold pieces.
Guess what else there was? There was a gnome.
Yeah. Yay, the gnome. Look, guys, he's woken up. We can't really record much else. I hope you guys enjoyed this one.
Let us know what your thoughts on this situation is. If you think they're worth it or scrap them all together.
Have you ever seen one done actually well? I think I have seen them done well, but like it's something like I'm not a very good DM, so I'm not. Yeah, but look, I'm not a very good DM. No, yeah, he does know. Yeah, look, I hope you guys enjoyed. We'll talk to you guys later.
Happy Valentine's Day!
See you later.